Good morning. A little windy on this May day. Thought I'd give you a garden tour today in that first day of May. Got to celebrate, get out and check things out. Wanted to share with you the bloom on our birds of paradise, and that been printing it up here the last couple of years and shared some pictures earlier with it regarding the bloom and upkeep on it, and it sure has turned out pretty. A lot of people took some interest in that thing. Just kind of share with you a little bit of what we've been doing landscape wise around, and that we bought the house with the pool and didn't have too much for landscaping around, and the boys and I got into doing a little project in terms of weed maintenance, landscape maintenance, to clean that stuff up, and hopefully it'll keep our weeds down to a minimum. We've been going around and getting our orchard all set up. We've got some olive trees here on the east side, and a Granny Smith apple, and a crisp apple, Honey Crisp, and we've got some citrus down over here. Just some fun things that we've added to the property as we have purchased it since 16. We've got pomegranate trees blooming. Our jasmine has really been pleasant this spring in terms of just smell is awesome on that plant. Had some varying results with the spring weather that we've had on and off, but citrus blooms always smell good too. Got one little citrus tree there that planted a couple years ago, and the frost just kind of beat it up, but had some successes and definitely some downfalls this year with our garden stuff. Rose garden here that Andrea planted, along with some other ornamentals here on the side of the garage. Got our flag posted for May Day, and some little birds been nesting up here in our cow skull. But just kind of some fun things with spring. Keep things flying with the wind. Andrea did some nice rock work, garden work here a couple years ago, again doing landscape improvement things around the house, and planted a bunch of, I think, 3 different varieties of thyme here. It's definitely been one of those things that have cleaned up the front of the yard. Again, trying to do little stuff that'll improve it, and I've showed you different pictures and things along the way. We got irises planted out here, little stuff going on, wild rose, and mom's bulb is about ready to totally pop up here in this plant, which is definitely pretty when it blooms. Back around on this side, we got some more irises out there by the pump house. We've got some snowballs that had some really pretty blooms earlier this year. Back around on the garden side, we've got our ornamental plum trees. We got all cleaned up, and then we've got some elderberries that we planted over here on the garden hay barn side. Again, another shot of our landscaping stuff around the swimming pool. Really kind of cleaned that edge up. We just used some drain rock and some split cedar posts that were left here on the property when we bought them. Those split cedar posts are great for doing landscaping stuff, and that if you can get some old ones, a lot of times you can just find them for free and put them to good use. Another project this winter has been our poultry operation, in that Wyatt, he wanted to get some chickens going, and we've had some challenges there this spring with trying to get good survivability on them. Finally found that we needed to change our chick starter feed, in that had several batches that just didn't do well in our production. Here's the elderberry bushes that we got going. We got 2 here and then one up there by the horse trough. In our garden area, we've got some raised beds and a lot of weeds. Been working on trying to get the weeds under control, but had a couple of different frost situations. You know, we had a pretty mild winter through March, had a hard frost in March, and then another one in April that just kind of caught the plants, trees, orchards, stuff in a very, you know, vulnerable state, in that they're, you know, putting on all that new growth and catches them in a bad frost scenario. These are all volunteer tomatoes. Ended up having 10 of those come up, and just talking with Dalton here a little bit ago, we're paid a little over $3.50 per 4-inch pot on tomatoes down at the nursery this year, which, you know, is all good and fine, but just one of those things. I used to sell those for $1 for a 4-inch pot, and if you can get some volunteer plants, it's good. And we got a little raised bed of strawberries here, corn coming up, and talked a little bit about our apricot tree and that it got beat up by the frost this year. Looks good right now, but no fruit. Plums have got some fruit. Our cherry trees, it is just loaded. It dodged all the frost somehow. It got hit by a little bit of hail, knocked a little fruit off the other day, but it is getting ready to ripen up. Hopefully we'll have a nice cherry crop if we can keep the birds off from it. Wanted to share with you too the tomato plants that survived the frost, and that they got beat up here about a couple, 3 weeks ago, and they have put on secondary growth, and very happy to see that. And of course, like I just said a little bit ago, these plants were not cheap, in that $3.50 a piece for a 4-inch pot. You're definitely putting some money out there to grow some homegrown tomatoes, but hopefully they'll get to setting fruit here soon, and we'll be able to share a good bacon and tomato sandwich with you. Hope y'all are having a good May Day.